Welcome to the Coffee Journeys show, hosted by me, Piotr Zagorowski, author of the Coffee Journeys blog. In this show, I'll be sharing my journey from being a technical person to a leader and discussing topics such as leadership, technology, and intentional living. I'll be sharing my unique perspective and insights and offering guidance on how to develop the skills and mindset needed to succeed in today's world. Whether you're an aspiring leader, a technology enthusiast, or simply looking to learn more about the world around you, this podcast is for you. So, join me for the engaging and thought-provoking conversations on leadership, technology, and intentional living on the Coffee Journeys show. Some projects go pretty smooth. We see progress, and reaching a goal is just a matter of well-defined time. Some plans are being dragged for months or even years. We don't know where this thing is going, and what's more, sometimes we don't even know why we bothered to start it. In that case of a lagging project, usually it's not because of complexity, lack of resources, or time. In these cases, we should probably look closer to people who plan it and perform the execution of tasks. A few years back, I did my very first annual review and planning for the first time. I wouldn't just buy bicycles for my family, which sounds easy, right? Well, it took me almost 2 years. Yes, 2 years, and it's embarrassing. So, sip your coffee while I'm going to share what happened. Plan for today is I'm going to share you my story about annual planning fiasco, why it didn't work in the beginning, and it took me almost 2 years to complete. Gosh, it's so embarrassing when I say it. And finally, what I did to fix it so that you can learn from my mistakes and maybe do it better. Annual planning. So the story goes probably 5 years back or even 6. I was a fan of Tim Ferriss' show and podcast, and I also read some articles from Michael Hyatt about annual planning. And I decided to do experiment. Why don't I do my first annual planning? In the end of the day, a lot of successful people, however we decide successful, do some form of planning, and I know it from my work. It's always better to plan and stick to the plan, track the plan, and basically see the progress. I was thinking to myself, why just be more intentional about what I do and just plan it? Like, just drop everything that I would like to complete and just track it and do it in the end. So I was sitting in the front of computer. I fired up my favorite to-do app, and I started to think about what should I do next year? And I started recording it and capturing all my goals as tasks. So I opened one project. It was just family planning, and I was adding tasks of things that I wanted to accomplish next year. It was good. It was a good start, as we say diplomatically in the project management world. And I was happy that I accomplished this first annual planning. I went to New Year following the workbook and completing weekly reviews every Friday. I'm a big fan of getting things done, methodology and framework. I'll probably record separate podcast about it, but now I will tell you that, when you plan, when you do something in your favorite to-do app or in just paper, you should sit every week and review everything what is on your plate. And normally what you do is just review every project and every task within this project, implementing usual things like, first of all, it's called 4D. So do it, delegate, defer, or delete it. Do it just now while reviewing it, implementing another rule, which is 2-minute rule. If it's easy, just do it. It's easier to complete it rather than just do everything else and overthink it. So yeah, I was doing some stuff. I was pretty happy, and I did a lot of things like this. And next, I delegate, meaning that you delegate to someone else, or you delegate to yourself for next week, next month, next quarter, and so on. Speaking of next quarter, you probably should defer it, meaning that, okay, it's not important, I will probably do it later. It's still relevant, important, but it's not for now because it's too many things on my plate at the moment. Or finally, 4D is deleted, meaning like, okay, it's no more relevant, I'm not doing it, I don't know why I put it in first place, and so on. So just delete it. So this is just in a nutshell how I was operating. So why it didn't work? It was all good until I was reviewing my project called Family Planning or Family Plans and visiting a task called Buy Bicycles for All Family. I was promptly resetting the date to the next Friday, and it was not good. Basically, I was doing it for almost whole year. Again, this is embarrassing to say, but I want to be transparent, like some plans are not very well executed when you try to learn something. After reviewing this task week by week, I lost track, like why did I put this goal into my planning? Why I wanted to complete it? So, how did I fix it? I would probably stupidly be doing it till this day, if not having listened to another great podcast and coming across a power of asking why. In fact, it was like 5 times why. Sometimes we can struggle to answer those following whys honestly. Sometimes we can struggle actually following like one why if we don't capture it. That probably means that we wanted to do it as a whim or caprice rather than just real need, like real motivation. Having bicycles for all my family members was important to me. However, my mistakes, one of many, was that I didn't write down why I wanted to do it, why I was so keen of doing it. So I sat down on one Friday and this exercise, trying to answer like, why have I this task in my list? So, okay, I sat down and asked myself, what do we want to have bicycle for my family? And answer was somehow interesting and really compelling in the end. So why number one? Or rather answer to why number one. Because there is a forest in location and beautiful paths that we can use to ride bicycles as a family. Okay, that's good. Now, why number two? Because we want to spend time together. It makes sense. I have small kids. Sometimes I work, sometimes I do my hobby, like recording this podcast and so on. And we just want to do something together, like spend time with family and doing this by riding bicycles. Why number three? Because we want to move and exercise more. That was very important to me. And we're getting somewhere now. So why number four was because I want to be healthier. I sit most of the time in front of computers doing different things, work, not work, outside of work. I'm just not moving enough. Which led me to number five, because I want to be around and mobile when our kids are older. And this was quite emotional to get to this point, and to be honest, pretty good motivation. So I wrote it down, and it was good motivation to start doing something about this project. Okay, what came next to fix this fiasco? I realized that I need to treat it as a project, not as a task. My mistake was that I had like one big project, plans, and I had a lot of things there. Bicycles were only one task that supposed to be project. It has to be project because it's big. Buy bicycle for all family is just overwhelming, like where to start. So you have to transfer this to be a separate project. So every project can have small tasks. For me, it was a revelation. So now I have project, which is buying bicycles for family. I should properly define first tasks. And then we go to another very good tool of getting things done, which is the power of next steps or next actions. Every project that you put into your plate should have this defined very well. What is it? Buying bicycle is a huge task, but if you break it down to small possible tasks, it's getting easy. For me, it was task about research. What type of bicycle I want? What is my budget? I learned that I could buy bikes from a few £100 to whatever the bigger number is, which is probably not defined. I learned that you can buy a bicycle that costs almost as much as a car. That was another discovery during this project. Anyway, going back, yes, I needed to do research. I needed to find what bicycle we want to buy, what is my budget, what I can afford, and so on and so on. So very first step was to do research. Another big thing that I learned is about accountability. What I did, I mentioned it to my friend. She's quite sporty person and she knows a lot about bikes. She advised me on types and reasonable prices and so on, but she also helped me the most one particular day. We met and she asked her usual question: how is your bicycle project going? And to my embarrassment, I always had the same excuse, the same answer. Something about lack of time, something about complexity, blah, 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 as we say. And then she just pushed me in the right way, saying something about getting right now to the high street because there is a shop that has good promotion, and bikes that are on promotion will be probably the most suitable for you. A very same day, I was happy owner of bikes for me and my wife. Not very long after, we also bought bikes for my kids, and finally we went for a ride. It was almost 2 years after a brilliant idea came to my mind about what if we have bicycles for all family. A lot of lessons learned. Let's summarize what I learned from this coffee journey. When you plan big things, big projects or purchases, you should ask yourself why you do what you do, why you need this purchase, why do you want to do it. Ask probably even 5 times to get to the bottom of it and the real motivations. If you want to track your planning as a project, break it to the one project per item. For every project, define the very next step and log it as a task. For every task, define the next action or next step. It could be as simple as do the research, ask your friend, read the book, or put something in calendar to define it later. Finally, find accountability buddy. If you're happy to share your goal with someone, tell to your spouse, tell to your friend, share with family member, so that they can motivate you or help you to achieve your goals. I wonder if you practice annual planning, and maybe you can share some of your stories about your projects. I hope my story was helpful for you. It just shows how sometimes we have big plans and plans are good. We want to achieve something big, something good. But basically, you have to track it. You have to make sure that you build systems around it that will help you to succeed. And this is all I have for you today. I value feedback a lot. That's why I ask you to review my podcast in your favorite podcasting platform and give it as many stars as you think it deserves. By doing so, this podcast is going to be more visible and I can reach more people to provide value. And before you go, if you would like to join the community of people who are determined to help each other and grow together, join my newsletter at coffeejourneys.blog/newsletter. Thanks for tuning in today, and until next time, have a great